Good morning, good morning. Welcome to all of our lovely viewers out there. This is our February and March Club-A-Long.
I know, I'm so excited to be here. I'm Josie, and we're also joined by a few other people in the room.
Absolutely. So I'm Kim, again, Josie right here. We've got a couple moderators here because we want you to engage. So say hi, moderators. I think they're just waving. I don't know if you can hear them. We're like, hello. So definitely as you kind of go through the next couple hours with us, we want you to engage, leave messages, and there might even be a little prize for anyone who engages. So just plan to leave your comments, ask your questions as we craft along with you. Just have fun with us. That's what it's really all about. Yeah, having a couple hours of having fun. So we're not only going to play and review February clubs, amazing. We know you already have all those boxes in your hands. And also March, which a lot of you, probably most of you have March also, but there might be a few shipments that are still trickling their way to you as we go through the month of March here. But we're super excited about both months. And also, besides Josie and myself, we have two special guests.
I know, I'm super excited.
Let's first say hi to Yana, our own amazing Yana.
Hey everyone, I have my craft on, super happy, super excited to be joining you today. It's going to be awesome. Yay! I will be for the most so we can, chat, interact, ask questions, and just have fun.
Absolutely. And a little bit of Yana's segment is going to be pre-recorded because, as you know, Yana is coming to us from the Ukraine, and we're not always 100% like making sure she's got connection. And I know, Yana, I wanted to ask you this, I'm probably putting you on the spot, but it's probably not an entirely safe space outside your four walls. And I know you said that crafting is your little escape. So we're so happy to have you here. Yes?
Yes. My craft room is my safe place. It's my happy place. So yeah, I'm happy to be with you guys, even though my segment is pre-recorded, but I will be in the comments chatting away and just, well, maybe I'll be crafting too. Who knows? We'll see.
That's exciting. Yes, we're so happy that you were able to be here live with us. And not to mention our second very special guest, someone who's been a longtime fan of our clubs and of Spellbinders in general. We love everything she does, but we especially love when she does Spellbinder stuff. So let's say hi to Jennifer McGuire.
Hello, I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me.
We're so excited. Again,
yes.
We're super excited.
We asked Jennifer to do one of our club-alongs, and she was like, yeah, sure. We're like, okay, this is going to be so much fun. Jennifer's going to be crafting live with us today, right?
Yep. Ooh. I'm excited. I'm excited to be here, see Yana, what she has to create, and with both of you. So it'll be a fun, crafty afternoon.
Absolutely, absolutely. So again, welcome to everyone who's out there. The run of the show is basically going to be, we're going to start with our February kind of review, like I mentioned earlier. Then we're going to flip over to Yana's amazing segment, and again, answering questions during that time. And then we'll come back to the studio for some more live crafting. So it's just going to be a good time. Yeah. Should we dive right into February
I'm
first?
Right into February. So
okay.
February clubs are all available online. If you guys missed out the actual deluxe caboodle, you can buy all this open stock. So I always like to start with the large die. So the large die consists of this amazing little bunny butt, this basket, and all these flowers and carrots. So if you don't want to use the basket, the carrots, and all those things, there's also a lot of flowers and different things that you can do with all the different elements that are part of this set.
So you just mentioned the word deluxe caboodle. Yes. What does that mean,
So
Josie?
The deluxe caboodle is everything that's clubs. Plus you get a special surprise that's only available for those that are in the deluxe caboodle. So it's 11 products total. But the large,
like one and done.
One and done. You get everything.
One subscription, you get it all.
You get it all.
I love it.
So that's what we're
large
most excited
die.
about.
Okay.
So that's the large die. And then the inspiration for the small die came from the hiking boots that we did for fall. They were so popular that I wanted to do a set of slickers, or they call them wellies in the UK. But this also comes with flowers that also mix with the large die.
Sure.
So all of the clubs work together.
That's what I really love.
Yeah.
And the clubs have evolved over the years, and Josie's just gotten better and better. We always say, what can even be better? And then the next month, it's even better.
And we only started with 5. When I started, we had 5 clubs, and now we're up to 11. 11, which is crazy every month. And this is the stitch die. Again, if you just change the colors of these cards, you can do them for all sorts of occasions. And this flower here pops out, and if you needed a leaf, you could trim this out and add a leaf, or you could add a leaf from one of the other sets. So this
cute,
here is the stitch die. The glimmer is really pretty. It's a daffodil strip, but it's
So
wide,
nice.
so you can pretty much cover a whole A2 card. And you can also do a taller, taller cards like a 5x7 card with this. We purposely made it long, so that way there's more variety. And this one is just on an inked background, and then here we
So
have it
pretty.
just colored in. And the shapes are so big that it's easy to color.
Yeah, and I love that this has the Easter greeting, but also the everyday greeting.
Yep.
So it's not only Easter.
Easter.
Love that.
And then
Still love Glimmer.
here we have the 3D folder, which I think this one's my favorite. It's got the Easter eggs hanging in the tree. And it's,
Aw,
they're
so cute.
it's so cute. And the dimension on this is just really unbelievable, the detail. Even in the little eggs, you see little stripes, there's the little bows. And again, it works with all the clubs.
Maybe we'll leave this here and we'll put the 2D next to it.
Yeah. And
What's
this
the difference between 2D and 3D? I mean,
2D
it kind
and
of is a
3D
little bit obvious, but tell me a little bit more.
2D is one layer. It's one level.
Okay.
And it's very flat compared to...
And it's super easy to ink because it's flat.
Yes, super
so
easy to
that's
ink.
cool.
And you can see here that somebody went in and inked it with green, and then they went in and just added those little bits of yellow to really
cute.
pop the pattern there. And then I'm going to hold this next to it. And so you can see the dimension here of the elements compared to the flat surface of the
So
2D
this just
folder.
pops that much more.
Yep.
Got it.
So, and it has a realistic, very more realistic
Yeah.
look depending on the design.
So pretty. All right. 2D and 3D.
3D.
You get both of those. Got it.
Yep. And then our newest club is the Better Press Club.
Oh, yes. People love this guy.
And again, this one here, where's
This
the
is
card?
just pressed in the beautiful, just black ink.
Oh, here's the card.
Here's the card. The colorful card.
Colorful card.
Oh, so stunning.
It's so stunning and it's so beautiful. And the sentiments with this, they're just kind of everyday sentiments with a throw to spring. So all occasion.
Nice. Send you a fluttering hello.
Yes.
Aw.
And wishing you a lovely day. So those cards are for anybody and everybody. And so
Hummingbirds are just, I think
so
they're a little
pretty.
bit popular right now too.
Yeah.
They're kind of on trend. Love it.
what I like about the Better Press is the realistic images that you can get, the
So much
detail that you can
detail.
get that you can't get with stamps.
Right.
And so there's that.
Beautiful.
And then we have the stamp and die.
Oh yeah, this was a lovely
This one's
one.
really, really pretty. So this works with our nested arch dies, but it also comes with the die set. If you only are a member of just the stamp, you can use our arch dies with this. But if you get both, or you get the deluxe caboodle, this comes with the die. And people make these beautiful
That's
shaker
a really
cards with them.
gorgeous
it's a really
die
pretty.
too.
It is.
I mean, it cuts all the things out.
It's
Wow.
it's almost like a stained glass effect.
So pretty.
Yeah, it really makes that flower pop.
We are a die cutting company, but we can't forget our stampers. There still are so
Yeah.
many people that enjoy stamping, and it's so fun to color those images. Gorgeous.
And then one of our other new clubs is the Stencil Club.
Love it. And this stencil was packed this time.
Yeah, there were 4 different backgrounds.
Four
with the
different
stencil
ones.
set.
Wow.
So they're not always going to have 4. It just depends on the design. If it's a
Yeah.
layered stamp, or I'm sorry, if it's a layered stencil, it may just be 4 stencils that create that pattern.
Right.
But this is just a background, so we went ahead and did 4 of those.
And this one, look how
I
fun
know, with the
all
paste
little
and the
glittery.
glitter, it's beautiful.
Oh, so fun.
And then
Love
we
it.
have the wax seal.
I'm leaving this one here. You probably know why, but
Yes.
we'll get back to it.
And I chose to do the Lily of the Valley, which I think is a classic
So
spring Easter
pretty.
flower. And it's so delicate and so pretty. And this green color, the sage green color, is just beautiful.
It is
for the
perfect
wax for spring.
For springy.
And then last but
Love
not
that.
least, this is your little freebie for
Oh, let's
being
see the
part of the
freebie.
deluxe caboodle. It is another hummbird.
That's why I
with a
left this
die
guy out.
and a little sentiment. So
Oh,
the
man.
value is amazing of the deluxe caboodle. So does anybody have any questions about that, or we can jump right into Yana's tutorial? Oh, I forgot the foil. The foil.
Oh,
this
the foil
month.
comes with the glimmer.
Yep,
You're
with
right.
the glimmer.
I always get a pretty
Yep.
foil. Love it. So yeah, just a reminder, when you do join the deluxe caboodle, especially if we haven't sold out, which
Yes.
we're trying not to do that, but for sure get in at the beginning of the month when you sign up, if you are a new signer, or if you've already been in the deluxe caboodle, of course you're guaranteed to get it, but you get the little freebie every time. It's something different every time.
And
Sometimes
it
it's
either
a-
works with most of the clubs, or it
Yeah.
works specifically with one of the sets.
could be a
a
tool,
stencil.
it could be a stencil, it could be a die. It's different every month.
Yeah.
It's like a surprise.
It is. So
Yay.
that is April.
So fun. Yes, and like we said, February is so much fun, and I'm going to be playing with February. And Yana also did her crafting with February. She did the small die and the large die. I'll just bring these back in for fun. So I think we should go ahead and jump right into Yana's tutorial. She's going to walk us through, and of course, reminder, she will be available in the messaging there to answer questions during her tutorial, so definitely engage if you're not too busy watching and staring at the amazing stuff she does. But let's walk right into Yana's tutorial, and we'll see you back after that.
Yep.
Hello everyone, I'm Yana Smakola, and I'm super excited to be joining you for the second Spellbinders Club Along. You may already know me because I film most of the Spellbinders Club videos. You probably recognize my hands from the Spellbinders Club video tutorials. And today I'm excited to bring you a card using February Club kits. I have picked several club kits that I'm going to use for my project, and I actually missed creating with the February Club kits because I had a work trip. I was at a show with Spellbinders in Germany, so I couldn't work on the club videos for February. And you guys might have noticed that because we had Mindy Egan fill in for me and film the February videos together with Annie Williams. And then we also had Skylar from The Office help us with the wax seal video. So I didn't actually get a chance to create with February products, with February Club products. So I'm super excited to create with them today because I feel they're fantastic. I really loved the whole spring and Easter theme, and I was really looking forward to making a card with these goodies. So the main die sets, the main products that I'm going to use for my card are the small die of the month and the large die of the month for February. So first of all, I really liked the basket and the February kit. The basket is just fantastic. I love that it is designed in such a way so that it can be used for a 5x7 card or a slimline card, you know, a bigger card, if you use the full length of the handle, or it can be shortened and made smaller, made into a smaller basket so that it can fit on a smaller card on an A2. I'm an A2 type of card kind of girl, so that's the size that I'm comfortable with, and that's the size of the card that I will be making today. I went ahead and I already did some die cutting. So I die cut all the parts and pieces for my basket using the Spellbinders Snowdrift cardstock. I have the front of the basket, I have the back of the basket. I also die cut the handle 3 times. The reason I cut it 3 times is because I want my handle to be a little sturdier. You know, this is a delicate piece. It's nice and thin, so you might want to back it up with additional layers of cardstock so that there is a little bit more sturdiness to this piece. I just realized that I'm actually missing one piece to my basket, and it's this one. So let me grab my die cutting machine and quickly cut it out for you. So here I have my Platinum 6. I'm using my leftover sheet of Snowdrift cardstock, and I'm just going to quickly cut this little piece out. You can also cut it out twice if you want this piece to be slightly more dimensional. Actually, might do that, because I already have my die cutting machine here, so why not? Plus, if you are creating live with me, if you're club alonging with me, if you're making your card with me while you're watching this video, this will give you more time to do your die cutting. I typically like to die cut things multiple times to have additional layers to my die cuts, just because that makes them a little bit sturdier. All of the basket parts and pieces are now ready, and I just want to add a little bit of ink blending to create, some shadows on my basket. I'm going to use a gray ink pad for this and a Spellbinders blending brush. It doesn't matter what color ink you use, just use something light gray. You just want to add a little bit of shading onto one side of your basket. So all my shadows are going to be concentrated on this right-hand side. So I'm coming in rather heavy here and adding a heavier layer of ink blending here. Just going to add a little bit of ink. It's always best to start light and add more ink as you go. You don't want to come in with a heavy hand or a very dark ink right away, because you can never take the ink away. You can always add the ink, but you can't take it away. So if you happen to add too much ink, you'll have to, create another die cut and start from scratch. So there, I think this looks good. The ink will also lighten once it dries, so it's not going to be as dark, but we'll still have that nice little shadow on this side. You can also add a little bit of ink blending on the left-hand side, not too much, just a little bit. This will help to make your basket appear slightly dimensional. So we're still having the white in the center, but the sides are ink blended. I do need to pop these little pieces out. I didn't do that beforehand because I wanted you to be able to follow me on video and create along with me. So just using my Tool-in-One and going to poke all of these little pieces out. By the way, if you want, you can also double this layer up if you want to have a sturdier basket. I will use foam adhesive to pop this layer over my solid layer, just because I like to pop things up on my cards. Okay, we're almost done. Just a few more pieces left. Okay, good. So this is done. Now let's go ahead and glue these two pieces together. I'm using Bearly Art glue to adhere these. Just going to add a little bit of glue and stick these. Okay, we've not added ink blending onto this piece yet, and the reason for it is I actually want to adhere it onto my basket and then add the ink blending because it's a delicate piece. All of that die cut detail is making it very delicate and I don't want to bend it. So I'm just going to add it onto the front of my basket first, and then I'll ink blend over it. Okay, so this looks good. I am going to set this aside for a few minutes to let the glue dry. And while that's happening, I'm going to work on my basket. Now, I forgot to mention this, but my vision for this card is I'm going to use the basket, and instead of using the dies that came with the large die of the month, because the basket is the large die, I'm going to use the dies from the small die of the month. I really like the daffodils, the tulips, and then little delicate flowers in the small die. I really like those, so I want to fill my basket with those flowers. I love when Spellbinders does these big elements, when Josie designs these large vessels, I would say, large containers that we can use to fill with different things, because then you can use these to fill them with many different things that you already have in your stash. Okay, I have glued the 3 layers for the handle, and I'm just going to add my base. Actually, I wasn't sure if I wanted to place the base like so, and then add the top layer here, or if I wanted my base over the handle. I think I want my base over the handle, just in case the handle is too thick to be hidden under that top layer. Okay, I think that's about a good size for my basket. See, you have options here. You're flexible. You can make a smaller or a larger handle, and hence a shorter or a taller basket. I am going to add some ink blending to the handle as well, although most of that is going to be hidden by the flowers that we will place on top. Okay, I think that looks good. And now I can add ink blending here to this top layer. Okay, that looks good as well. So our basket is now complete. I'm going to set my basket aside for now. We will come back to this later. And I'm going to walk you through other die cutting parts and pieces for this card. So here I have the parts, the flower dies to create the daffodils. And I've already die cut pieces for mine, and I've even assembled 1 or 2 pieces. So these are very easy to make, very easy to assemble. First of all, daffodils come in many different colors. I will say that I've even seen some pink daffodils online. So if you're not sure what colors of ink creating for fun, go online. I like to go to Pinterest and I just type up daffodil and you get all of these beautiful images that you can use as inspiration, color inspiration, design inspiration. So if you're ever stuck, try that. Anyhow, for my daffodils, I'm going to have white and yellow daffodils. The whole color combination for my card is going to be, as you can see from this little dish here, I'm going to have yellow, I'm going to have purple, and I'm going to have green. This is my favorite color combination for any spring project that I make. I love the look of yellow and pink together, especially when you add a little bit of green. So I have some white daffodils with the yellow centers. And I also have some yellow daffodils with the white centers. When you do your die cutting, by the way, I die cut these from these, I'm just checking my little cheat sheet here. Here I have my little tag sheet. So I die cut the yellow daffodils from the Spellbinder Saffron cardstock. Now the orange pieces were die cut from the Persimmon cardstock, and white pieces were die cut from the Snowdrift cardstock. I always love to use foam adhesive squares, so when I'm assembling my pieces, I am using foam adhesive squares. These are the thin foam adhesive squares. If you know you're going to have a lot of layers, it is best to go with thin, but if you know you'll have just 1 layer, you can get away with using the thick foam adhesive square. So I've popped my center in the center of the yellow flower. By the way, I also forgot to mention, I curved the petals on the daffodils, and I did that by using my fingers. This is very easy to do. You just use your finger and you curve each petal. You can control how much curvature you want there, how dimensional you want these to be, and just like that, they start to look completely different. So that is done. We just need to add our orange flower center. Going to use a little bit of glue, pop that in the center, and there, our daffodil is done. Now for this other daffodil, I'm first going to adhere the orange piece in place. I'm using a crystal katana tool to help me pick up and position everything. Otherwise, it's kind of hard to pick up these little pieces, so a pickup tool like the crystal katana or a similar pickup tool is essential when you're working with die cuts like these. Okay, let's go ahead and add another foam adhesive square from the back of this flower center and just pop that in place. Now there is no right or wrong way to attach the flower center. As you saw, I just popped it in the center. I did not pick which petals, in between which petals I wanted to place it. I might reposition it because I might want to have it facing, between the 2 petals instead of just going over a certain petal. So there, our daffodils are done and they're so, so pretty. Next, I have die cut some tulips, and these are again made using the small die of the month. I die cut the tulips from yellow and also purple cardstock. So for the yellow, let me bring my cheat sheet here again. So I used Tuscan, it's this pretty color here. I used saffron, it's this color. And then I feel like I used beeswax. Yes, it's this pretty color here. So I have 3 layers for the tulips, for the yellow tulips, and then just 2 layers for the purple tulip. And the purple tulip was created using the Purple Mist and Lilac Blossom cardstock. To assemble the tulips, I'm going to show you real quickly what I did here. So I took the darkest yellow, then I added the medium yellow over my tulip base. Now there are indentations in your die. So there are lines in the die kit that are there to help you place the pieces. I'm not really using these lines to assemble my tulip. I'm just placing the layers the way that looks best to me. So there, I have my second layer added. And now for the third layer, I'm going to use regular foam adhesive squares. And I'm going to cut thin strips so that I can hide those strips behind my die cuts. You probably don't need to go this thin, but you know, thin enough so that your adhesive is not visible. And you can even sort of curve it. Okay, that looks good. And I'm just going to pop this top layer on top like so. And our little yellow tulip is done. So I have a yellow and a purple tulip. You can also use these pieces to assemble 2 more tulips because so the tulip has their 2 dies to die cut the tulips, and I use 3 colors of cardstock. So I have 3 sets of die cuts to create 3 tulips if I wanted to, but I don't need that many. I just need 2 tulips for this card. Let's set these aside as well. Okay, now we also have the dainty flower. And like I said, I wanted to die cut this from purple cardstock. I used the same colors that I did for the purple tulip. And I have already shaped some of my flowers because I like the way that they look when they are shaped. To do that, I used my Spellbinders 2-in-1 and the stylus tip attachments to shape them. The stylus tip attachments are now available in a garden toolkit by Susan Tierney Cockburn. So that's where you can find these. There are 3 different sizes, I believe, and they're fantastic for shaping flowers. Susan has many floral dies in her collections, and that is essential to her, to her products. So those are fantastic for shaping flowers. In that kit, there's also a mat that you can use, a squishy mat that you can use to shape your flowers on. I don't have that mat, so what I use, and you'll laugh at this, but I'm just using a pencil eraser. This is just like a leftover little bit. So I place my die cut in onto the squishy surface. It can be any surface. And then I just use the stylus and I press in the center, and that shapes my flower. Let me bring this a little bit closer to you so you guys can see this. See? Like there's a little bit of dimension and that instantly looks so much better. Okay, I also have a little tiny yellow flower centers for these, and I will add the flower centers once I've added the tiny flowers onto my card. Now I also die cut some leaves and stems. I probably won't be using the stems for my card, but I will use some of the leaves, and I use the Spellbinders Peridot cardstock for this. Usually I would use several shades of green, but well, I actually have just 1 green left in my stash, so that's why I'm just using 1 green color. Okay, we just need to create a background and a sentiment, and we will be able to start assembling our card. I wanted to add some subtle embossing to the background of my card. And while we do have embossing folders in our kits, there is a regular 2D embossing folder and a 3D embossing folder. I wanted to do something softer. So I decided to use the stencils. I don't know if you know this, guys, but stencils can be used for dry embossing, for embossing. They will not give you as deep of an embossed result as you will get with your embossing folders, but they will still add texture to your paper and transfer that beautiful design onto cardstock. So the February stencil is actually a very fun one because you have 4 different stencils, 4 different designs. They're not layering, they're not a building stencil, they're just 4 separate standalone layers. So you can pick whichever layer you like best. I figured that I liked this layer the best. So this is what I'm going to use to emboss my panel. Here, I also have a panel of Glacier cardstock. This is cut to 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inches, and this is going to make the front of my card. So let me grab my Platinum die cutting machine, and we can do some dry embossing with our stencil. Okay, now if you've never embossed with a stencil before, it's actually very easy to do. And if you have a Spellbinders die cutting machine, you already have everything you need for that. If you don't know how to do this, look at the platform top. There is a little cheat sheet for you. The cheat sheet says how to emboss a cut shape. Embossing with a stencil requires the exact same sandwich when you want to emboss a die cut shape. So you need a platform base. I have that here. Then you need a platform top. I have that here. Then you need cut paper, embossing mat, and adapter plate. Here is my embossing mat and my adapter plate. With the stencils, however, the order for these items is slightly different. I just noticed how messy my mat is. Sorry about that, guys. And this is the part that I typically get confused about. Sometimes I will emboss with my stencil. I'm like, oh, that didn't work. And then I realized that I placed things in the wrong order. So you place your paper, you place your stencil, and then you add the adapter plate on top. I'm not taping anything. The stencils are sized perfectly for an A2 card. You can see that that open area basically frames my panel perfectly. So I'm just adding the adapter plate on top and sending that through my Platinum 6 to emboss. If you have an older Spellbinders machine, even a Grand Caliber, those machines came with a 10 embossing mat. You can still emboss with your stencils. I'm actually curious to know how many of you still have a Grand Caliber machine. Let me know in the comments. Anyhow, so here is our panel, nice and embossed. You can see that the embossing is not very deep. It is nothing like the embossing you get with an embossing folder or even a 3D embossing folder. Yet you get a little bit of texture, a little bit of nice texture to your panel. You also have the reverse side, although the reverse side looks even flatter than the front. So that's another thing that you can use your stencils for, another way for you to use your stencils. I went ahead and I adhered my embossed panel to an A2 top folding card base. Let me bring my die cut pieces back and we will begin assembling our card. Oh, I did forget to talk a little bit about the sentiment. I already have a sentiment in mind, and I guess we'll just assemble all of these pieces and then I will go back to my sentiment. So first thing first, we need to foam mount our little basket onto the card. As always, I'm going to use foam adhesive squares and just add a bunch behind my basket so that it is popped up on my card. I also want to add a little bit of foam adhesive around the handle so that there's no sagging. So once again, I'm using my scissors. I really love these Spellbinders detail shears or detail scissors because they are very nice and sharp, and I always use them to die cut my foam adhesive. Did I say die cut? To cut my foam adhesive. See, I'm in that die cutting mode. So I say die cut all the time. To cut my foam adhesive squares into smaller pieces. So just need to add a few more. If you have those strips, foam adhesive strips, you can use those as well and just curve them around your handle. I don't currently have any on hand, so foam adhesive squares will have to do. Okay, I think that's plenty. Now let's remove the backing tape. And we will then be able to add this darling little basket onto our card. Now, think about other holidays where you can use this basket. So this can be a basket filled with summer flowers. This can be a basket filled with fall treats. This can be a Christmas basket if you add a poinsettia and some pine cones. So this is a pretty versatile die set that you can use all year round. Okay, now we just need to add this second layer. And I'm trying to decide what kind of foam adhesive I want to use for the second layer. Probably not the regular foam adhesive squares, but the thin ones, so that there's not too much dimension on my card. This is going to take a minute for me to add these pieces onto my card or onto my basket. While I'm adding the foam adhesive squares, why don't you guys tell me in the comments how you store your Spellbinders Club Kit products. I have recently switched to a new storage system. I'm using large magnetic sleeves, and then I'm putting the sleeves in clear plastic pouches so that I can also add die cuts into the pouches and then store my embossing folders in there as well. So I'm basically storing my club products by collection. So I'll have a February collection, I'll have a March collection, and so on. Do you store your club products all together for a particular month? Or do you separate the products and, store embossing folders with the embossing folders, store the dies with the dies? I'd love to know, because we all store our supplies differently and we can learn from each other. It's nice to see how other people are storing products. Okay, this is done. By the way, if you wanted to, you could also add ink blending to this layer, or you could also die cut this layer from gray cardstock. In fact, I think that would look even better. I do have a piece that I die cut from gray. Not sure which color this is. Let me check my little cheat sheet. It's the Spellbinders Silver Fox cardstock. I like this better than the white because then I have a more realistic basket on my card. So I'm just going to add this using glue. When I was planning my card, I did die cut this from that gray cardstock. And then I forgot and I die cut another layer from white. Okay, with that done, I'm going to add my basket front onto my card, and we have that done. Beautiful. And now we can just use our flowers to create the floral arrangement on the front of the card. Okay, I think I want to add a large daffodil here, then add a white daffodil here, maybe come in with another large daffodil here, and then a yellow one over here. So it's all about mixing and matching different flowers and using different types of images. It's kind of similar to creating a floral arrangement. You start with your larger elements and then you fill the gaps in by using your smaller elements. So I have my largest elements in place. The daffodils are the largest pieces that I will have on this card. And now because I already have them in place, I can come in with the smaller pieces and add those. I'm not sure if I want to use foam adhesive or glue for this sleeve, so I'm just going to play around and see. Okay, maybe add this leaf as well. I want to add my leaves before I add the flowers to have the leaves look as if they're tucked behind the flowers. Next, using glue to add this daffodil, and then this one is going to be added using glue as well. The daffodils are pretty dimensional, so I don't really need to add foam adhesive squares. They are already popped up on my card, you know, because we curled the petals, so they already look pretty dimensional. I have foam adhesive, but regular, well, thin foam adhesive on the back of this tulip. I don't like that, so I'm actually going to remove that. That ripped the paper a little bit, that's okay. And then just use a large regular foam adhesive square and just pop the tulip here, and then maybe add this tulip somewhere here. Add more foam adhesive, always using foam adhesive, guys. I know sometimes I use too much, but that's just the way I like it. Okay, we need to adhere this daffodil. I know this doesn't exactly look real because you wouldn't necessarily have daffodils like that on your basket. You would probably have an arrangement in your basket, but I really like them like this. I like how they look, so that's how I'm adding them to my card. It's my card, and I can arrange my flowers any way that I want. I think I need to add another leaf, so maybe trim this leaf and tuck it in here, or maybe tuck it in there. I don't know. What do you think? Yeah, I think this is good. I am going to use glue for this leaf. Okay, so just adding this here, and you can angle your die cuts any way you want. Now there's also this curved leaf. I'm not sure if I have a good spot for it, so I probably won't use it at all. Okay, now we also have these darling little flowers, and they are going to finish our floral arrangement nicely. I know this doesn't look like much right now, and because it doesn't look like much because it's actually lacking the flowers. Once we add the tiny little purple blooms, this card is going to look so much different. So I'm just going to use glue and stick the purple flowers here and there to fill in the gaps on my card. I don't need to use foam adhesive for these flowers either because, again, the petals are shaped. The flowers look pretty dimensional, so there's no need to pop them up on my card. Okay, ooh, that looks so good. And wait until we add the yellow flower centers. That is going to make them look even better. So I'm just using the flowers from the small die of the month. The large die also has tulips. So if you wanted to add additional flowers, you definitely can do that. You have that option. I need to shape a few more of these because I didn't shape them all. I wasn't sure how many I would need for my card, so I just shaped a few. But I feel like I need one more over there and maybe another dark purple in this area. I might need to add a few more leaves to this little grouping, but I'm not sure. What do you think? Kind of feel like it looks okay for now. Okay, with this done, we need to talk about the sentiment. You can find sentiments in several club kits for February. There is the stamp set, of course, and I particularly like these curved sentiments. There's the spring greetings and the happy Easter, and these are designed to follow the curve of this arch, but they also follow the curve of the Easter basket handle. So here I have my happy Easter sentiment. I stamped that in black ink and I cut it out using the coordinating die, and look how well that follows the curve of the handle. Actually, I might scooch it down a little bit if I can cover up that boo-boo. I'm not sure. I should have thought about this sooner. Maybe not. Okay, let's put this flower back. So you have sentiments in the clear stamp of the month. You also have sentiments in the glimmer of the month. So there are two sentiments. One reads, Sending Easter Blessings, and the second one is You Brighten My Day. There are also 2 sentiments in the Better Press set, and these read, not sure if I can read this, sorry guys. Wishing you a lovely day. And then the second one says, Sending you fluttering hello. So these are the sentiment options in the February club kits. Of course, you can always use sentiments that you have in your stash. I always say that it's fun to combine new and old products. So if you have a sentiment that you really like in your stash, be sure to use that for your project. So I'm just going to add my Happy Easter. I have foam adhesive squares behind that. And all that's left to do now is to adhere those tiny yellow flower centers. If you don't want to do the yellow flower centers, the die cut flower centers, you can always use gems. I know I often use gems, but for this card, I actually feel like using the yellow die cuts is the best option just because of this color combo. And also because I don't really have any yellow gems in my stash. I have, gold. Well, actually, I don't have any gold, but gold would not be the same kind of color as the yellow cardstock that I'm using on my card. Hence, why I'm using the die cut flower centers for these flowers. And by the way, there is a die in the small die of the month to die cut these flower centers for your card. As there is a die, by the way, with all of the Spellbinders floral dies, you will always find a teeny tiny itty bitty die that will allow you to cut flower centers. So my desk is super messy, but here is a look at my card created using a combination of the February club kits from Spellbinders. So we have the beautiful basket from the large die of the month. We have daffodils from the small die of the month, tulips, and the other small flowers from the small die of the month as well. The background is created using the stencil, and then the sentiment comes from our clear stamp and coordinating die of the month. So that's a look at the card that I have for you today. I hope you are enjoying our Club Along event. I hope you're having fun. I hope you're creating along with us. Or if you're even just watching and chatting in the comments, thank you so much for spending your time with us. We appreciate it. So let's go back to the girls in the studio and see what else we have prepared for you for this Club Along event.
Well,
Beautiful
thank you
card.
so much, Yana. I do have to give her a little chuckle. Hello, Yana, by the way. I want to tease you because you were just about finished with your card and you were saying something like, well, yeah, I think you could add more flowers, but I think it looks okay. Meanwhile, over here, our jaws are dropping. We're like,
So
that
beautiful.
car is so beyond
Amazing.
okay. But I know that's how we roll. We're
Yeah.
always like, you could add more, but
Always
this is
doing
good.
better and more.
So thank you, Yana.
Thank you guys. Thank you. I had fun creating. It was fun.
Oh, that's awesome. So I am also going to play along with Josie with the February clubs. Yana, as you just noticed, used the small die, large die mostly with a few little extras thrown in. We're going to be using the the stitched die, which I've got a few of the pieces right here. We'll take a look. And then also the stencils. So I'm going to have Josie helping me, and we're going to be creating this fun little project. But as we kind of mentioned in the walkthrough, the stitch die is so fun because it not only has this amazing background plate, which you can use on its own and do some fun things in the little center here, or you can have the stitch die, the flower that goes right in the middle.
Yeah.
Or you can do, as I chose to do for my card, just use the center part And instead of using the stitched background, I was a little lazy. I went with a stenciled background, so super fun.
But also the way this was designed, you could create an opening, an aperture, and you could easily make a shaker card if you want.
Shaker card, exactly.
Yeah.
And you've got
So
this,
there's
I
a-
love how you do this.
Yeah.
What do you call this? Outside
That's
cut
your outside
line?
cut line, and
Got
that
it.
would be considered your insert.
Right.
So that way there's more options and it gives you more versatility with what you can do. And also
So
when you have
versatile.
the stitching, it's always nice to have the back so you can back the holes.
Yes,
on
once you
something
finish
big
your
like that.
stitching,
Yeah.
you could just cut the solid and pop it on
Pop
there.
it
Yeah.
on.
My cardstock was pretty pale, so I don't
you
think I
don't
put it
always have to
backer,
do
but
that.
it's great to have the
Yeah,
option. Exactly.
it's just an option.
So I'm going to get us started just with a little bit of stitching. I'm actually going to move my stencil piece to the side here real quick. We'll do that in a second. Also the centerpiece, by the way, I kind of forgot to talk about that. That also has the option of being stitched. You can see on the centerpiece, even it's so pretty, even just plain. Like you wouldn't even have to necessarily add the stitching. I decided to do it on this one because I wasn't doing the background. Haha. So this floss I have right here is a normal DMC floss, and I'm just going to kind of peel it apart so I have 3 strands. I'm going to just break it in half. It normally comes in a 6-ply. So I'm going to take the 3 strands apart, and you'll also notice if you kind of take a peek at this particular thread, it's what we call variegated, which means the color kind of changes as it goes through the thread. So I think that's kind of fun, especially on a die like this that has longer stitches. I think that shows up even more. So I've got my thread broke apart here.
And that color is perfect for spring.
Yeah, just kind of a fun, fresh spring vibe.
Pastel.
So I have my little needle minder here. Those of you who participated in our Stitch Miss last year got this fun little needle minder in your kit. And so I like to use it. We keep
And
talking about making more of
and the
these. We need
die.
to make more, right?
I think so. They're
Yeah, this little die came with it
a
too.
little die. Is that
So it's
still-
just a magnetic thing. So it kind of just holds your needle there.
is that die
kind of
set
fun.
still available? Or did we sell out of that?
I feel like the
This-
die set is not available
okay.
anymore, but we could check it out. If we find it, we'll link it. It's
Yeah.
the die set that cuts the little kind of
Card.
card out. So what I'm doing basically is to start this off, for those of you who's done stitching, this is a little probably repeat for you, but if you haven't done a lot of stitching, just a quick review. I pull my thread up from the back, and then I like to do 2 things. First of all, I put a little dab of glue down, but then I also put a little tiny bit of yellow tape just to hold that glue so I can stitch right away and not have to let that glue dry. Although our Bearly Arts glue does dry super duper quick, but I can just grab a little bit of our Best Ever Craft tape.
And something I like to do, if I have multiple pieces that I'm going to be stitching, I will cut them out and then glue the threads on them.
While you're waiting,
While I'm waiting,
so
while
smart.
I'm stitching my first piece, the rest of them will be dry.
Perfect.
So just kind of, if you prep it out a little bit,
You will see that these lines, the center lines right here around the what's going to be eventually the center of my flower, line up with each of these petals. So it's really easy. It looks like it might be a little complicated, but it's really not. You just come in from the bottom. I just like to go round and round. I come in with the bottom hole, and then it's got a slight embossing. I got to get my needle straightened up here. It's got a slight embossed line. I don't know if we can catch that on the video, Gavin.
see
You
it
can
a
see it a
little
little bit.
Yeah.
But it's definitely a guide. When you cut this out in real life, it has that just slight embossing. Oh
There you
yeah,
can
there
see
you can
it.
see it. Perfect. And so you could just follow that line and just go right along. And if you're not into regular stitching, this is a great opportunity to do what we call a faux stitch. You could easily take your favorite little pen or marker. So this would be something like a Jelly Roll pen, or maybe one of the Le pens. We also sell those on our site here at Spellbinders. And then you can just draw that little line. It's actually quite pretty. We've done it and kind of fooled people and said, oh, that totally looks like a real stitching line. So there are ways you can, do fun things with the die, even if you're not into the actual needle and thread.
But I find the stitching to be cathartic.
It's
You
kind
know,
of
it's-
relaxing.
It's relaxing, and it's very intuitive because we put the guides with the score lines where you need to do your next stitch.
You don't really have to think
You
about
don't even
it
have to think about it, And this is one of those things, like if you're just sitting at home and you're watching TV, you can cut out a bunch of pieces and stitch them while you're just, hanging out with your family, or just, and just get everything prepped, and you'll have stitched elements to use on your cards.
When we bring Jennifer back in later, we'll have to ask her some stitchy questions too, because she is definitely a stitching fan, and I know that she's taken hers to on the airplane, and I think
boat.
I've even
I
seen
think
her
she's
on a boat. So, all right, so I'm not going to stitch the entire flower. I think you guys can kind of get the idea as it go along. You're starting to see the color change in the thread here, where it goes kind of from yellow to a peachy, some fun things like that. So I'm just going to kind of set this aside for a second. You would do the same exact thing with the little flower center. Just go from the center, just loop, loop, loop all the way through. So super quick and easy. But let me pull my stenciling in because this is going to be the background of my card. And I think that really is going to bring the rest of the fun color in.
Do you want me to stencil one of the other patterns?
Yeah. I'm going to grab my stencils here. Pass these over to Josie. So like we said earlier, the stencil actually has 4 different stencils in. I have 2 right here. A little bit hard to see white on white there. That shows a little bit better. This fun one with the circle, which of course coordinates beautifully with the actual...
And there's a mask.
Yes, and there's a mask right here. So if you want to have the mask inside, you can either use that with or without, depending on the effect you want. So we're always happy to put that extra pop in there. But I'm going to be using my stamp wheel, and maybe I'll have Josie go right here, and she can do her tape method.
I'm just going to tape mine down.
This has got a little stickiness to it, so love this tool. Thank you, Altenew. And then I just put my stencil on top. And this also would kind of stick my stencil down.
And if I'm taping my stencil down, I like to work on a larger piece of paper and then just, you know, trim it down. Yeah, I'll move over. Yeah,
Pop it here,
finish.
girlfriend. She's like, I'm taping. So we're going to show 2 different methods, and we won't try to overlap each other too much. But these are my springy colors that I'm choosing, and I think we have this on the supply list that Skylar created. It doesn't have to be these exact colors, but pick your favorite kind of fun, fresh colors. I think I was going for a little retro vibe here. So we've got mustard seed, salvage patina, dried marigold, and spun sugar. And then I've got some brushes that match too.
I have sort of the same colors.
You have similar colors. Yeah. And I've got our smaller stencil brushes.
And I have our big puffy.
And she has our brand new jumbo. Look at these, you guys.
I know.
What a difference.
And they're so pretty when they have ink on them. But I really wanted these because these are perfect for blending backgrounds.
Exactly, especially for large coverage. You can see Josie's stencil has a lot more coverage on an all over pattern, and mine's a little bit softer just with the top and bottom. So I choose to use the more what we call medium brushes, and she's got the big daddies.
So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start with pink.
Yeah, you start, and I'll show you what I'm gonna go with. This guy is this might not even be exactly like my finished card, but I'm gonna go in and just do several spot flowers. So again, why I'm using the smaller brush. She's gonna beat me too, totally.
And Yana mentioned in her video how you want to kind of work from the edge of your card and work your way in. So that way you can get those darker colors on the edges and then bring the lighter colors into the next layer of color.
So pretty.
So, you know.
Now you're using pink, I'm using a little bit lighter pink on mine. And I love how when you do the 2 different colors, for example, pink and yellow, you're going to get that fun little crossover. Really creates a pretty peachy color.
Yeah. So
That's the look I'm going for.
I'm going to switch to yellow. I may have to borrow your yellow a little bit.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So again, we're going to go ahead and get some yellow. And then, like Kim was saying, you'll see that blend where you overlap your inks.
It creates a perfect peachy that almost exactly matches our cardstock.
And I'm going to go in and just add a little bit more pink. I mean, there's no right or wrong way to do this.
That's what's so fun about stenciling.
Yeah, it's just experiment.
I think a lot of crafters just say they can't color. I'm not good at coloring. I'm not that good with markers. I really dig the stencils, which is why I think they're so popular too.
Yeah. And everybody remember, this is just paper. So you can if you make a mistake or you don't like it, you can always start over. And I also feel sometimes like we feel like everything has to be a project, and sometimes it's just about practicing and seeing what you like and how to use the mediums and how to use the tools until you get a hang of it. Do you need yellow again?
I'm going to switch to blue now. I'm going to go with my light salvage patina and get some of these colors. I do a little bit, try to work in a little bit of a triangle pattern. Doesn't always work out perfectly, but...
And I'm going to also do blue because blue and yellow make...
blue too.
Yes, I'm copying you.
Maybe we'll switch and do your background for my project.
Blue and yellow. Transition into a
I know, look, it makes a
green.
pretty green. I kind of like this side-by-side business here.
I do too. It's like in stereo.
I will say sometimes when we're here at Spellbinders and we have to get, maybe you have like 5 projects left to do for one of our catalogs or for an online web asset. Sometimes Josie will come back and we'll just be like,
We just
crafty
all day.
time, power crafting.
I'm gonna go back to yellow. So now I've got my pink, orangey, peachy color, yellow, green, blue. Let me add a little
So
bit
pretty.
more blue. And then it'll transition into the green again. And then I'll add a little bit of the red at the very, very end. Yeah, when we're working on catalog, it's all hands on deck. But it's fun.
It is fun. We have what you call dream jobs.
We do. We're very fortunate.
All right.
Does anybody have any questions while we're... I'm going to finish off with the pink.
Skylar's like, I have a question.
Oh yeah, and you should
Pop
wear...
in, Skylar.
There's a question from Angelique. Is there a special needle for stitching that does not bend?
Oh, interesting. We use,
The DMC.
yeah,
DMC
DMC
needles.
brand needles. I mean, maybe other needles have a little bit more tendency to bend, but
These are perfect.
And the DMC needles we carry. they're
yeah,
bent.
I've never had one bend so far.
No.
I
And
think
they're-
maybe you don't want to overload the thread too much either, which is why I don't use hardly ever. I would say never I use the full 6 strands.
Another question for Josie.
Yes.
Who designs these fabulous clubs? The themes work together so well. Also, how
Ooh.
far in advance are you designing for future club
Oh.
items?
So you guys are going to think this is crazy, but we have to design at least 6 to 7 months out, if not longer. Shipping times are getting longer,
Yeah.
all that's taking longer. And how do I get them all to work together? I mean, I
A lot of
don't-
thought process,
A lot
for
of thought
sure.
process, but I usually start with 1 to 2 of the SKUs or the products. And then from there, everything kind of organically morphs into the other product and the other product. It's hard to plan everything out when you want everything to work together. So it's definitely an organic process starting with a base idea.
Awesome.
Awesome. Thanks for answering.
So I just
problem.
did my reveal. Now we'll
Alright.
do Josie's reveal. Ooh. These
And
are
then-
kind of similar colors.
Yeah, and then I would,
So
I would
pretty.
trim it,
Yeah.
obviously. Trim it
Exactly.
down, or, we have our die. There's usually an outside die for an A2 card. You can put that on there and trim it out.
Yep, exactly.
But you can see the pretty
So pretty.
blending and the different colors and
Love it.
great backgrounds.
So I have a few more pieces here that I just kind of want to share how I worked on finishing the card. We'll leave those guys. So I did go ahead and glimmer both of those pretty sentiments from the GOM, the Glimmer of the Month. Chose to use You Brighten My Day because I just think fun, it's got that fun flower vibe going on. But I did also cut some of those pretty leaves from the large die. So I think I only end up using 2 leaves on my final project. I'll kind of
And one
bring
other
it in
tip,
here and share.
don't forget that you can glimmer your Better Press plates.
That's right.
Yeah.
2 for 1 on that guy, for sure.
So there's lots of sentiments in this whole collection. You've got your stamp set, the Better Press, and the Glimmer all have sentiments.
So here is my fun finished flower. You can see that I just continued that same stitching all the way around. And then after that, it was really simple to pop this together. I took my background. Yeah, I did only use 2 leaves. I had to refresh my memory here. So fun that they're kind of poking out of the top of the card there. And again, remember, I didn't use any green ink, but just the blend of inks kind of matched that together. And then picked the You Brighten My Day sentiment down in the corner after I put my flower. And I put 1 sweet little gem in the middle. That was all. Didn't think I needed to add any more fun things after that. But again, how sweet, how simple. I didn't use the whole stitch background, so this came together much quicker. Although some of you might be saying, yeah, right, quick, Kim. But really, the flower did not take that long at all to
It doesn't.
complete. Doesn't at all. So yeah, so that is my fun
Love it.
February die. So I think, unless we have any other questions about February in particular, I feel like people are ready to maybe move on to March, take a
Yeah.
peek at what we have offering for March. And then, of course, we've got Jennifer in the wings. And she is going to actually be crafting with March, which is going to be so
I
fun.
know. I'm excited to see
So
what
let's
she
take a
does.
peek at what we've got for March for you guys.
Yeah.
This is the March.
This is our big
Everything in
box.
this box, again, is the deluxe caboodle. But don't forget, you guys also can subscribe to any of the clubs on their own. We don't want to make it sound like you can only order the deluxe
Yeah.
caboodle. We do have a really easy way to like upgrade from a club. If you only have a couple, maybe you want to add one. It's really super easy to do that. I know some of you have been asking questions on that in the chat, which is fabulous. Marisa and Skylar are the experts on all that fun stuff. But again, if you only want to have a couple of clubs come to you every month, it's just like a treat in the mail, no matter which way you go.
All right, so
Super fun.
I'm just going to jump right in here. So
Let's
I'm going to
jump
start
in.
with the large die. So the theme this month is books, reading, getting cozy, with, you know,
Cozy.
on
Oh.
a chair in a coffee shop. That's kind of the vibe here. So the large die is, it has the books. It has this little scene, kind of whimsical fairy
Yeah.
tale.
Like what's happening in the
Yeah, in
pages
the forest,
of this
you know,
book. So
once
fun.
upon a time kind of vibe there going on.
So as we go through, I do want you to follow up with the question we had. Do you remember which one you concepted first? Was it small die, large die?
It was the large die.
It was large die.
Yeah,
Okay.
it was the large die, and
I
then
feel
it
like a
kind
lot
of
of times
morphed.
you start with small or large.
Yeah,
typically.
yeah, because the
but-
die, the large die kind of goes across all of the
Sets the
clubs, and there's
tone.
so much more that we can do with the large die. So it does help
So
to start with that. So the dies are the first thing I usually start with. So here's another.
And I'm a big reader, so this just
I
speaks
know,
to me
and there's
too.
a lot of people.
Ah!
Marisa's a big reader. Aaron, you.
Yeah.
Who else? There's quite a few people in the office that read. So when I'm coming up with ideas, that's kind of like what is a theme that resonates with a large group of people
Yeah.
or crafters, and I thought let's bring it back to analog and do books. So,
I love it.
and this also incorporates the glimmer and the wax
Oh,
seal.
I love that. The
And
little
then
fun stripe.
I think this
Ooh,
one was
so pretty.
everybody's favorite is the owl.
Yes.
He's so cute.
I don't know if anyone caught our moderators over there. Maybe we could switch to them real quick, Gavin. They've got some actual like
Props?
themed
Yeah.
props behind them. Do you see behind Marisa there?
We've got a one. We've got our owl.
She got her owl in her cage.
I had a
Hat.
head wig back here.
So a little nod
So I
to
wonder which one they like the best. Maybe
Little-
small
Yay,
die.
Harry Potter.
And then I really had a lot of fun designing the stitch die this month because we did something different with the stitching. It kind of, instead of having the holes, we made these little notches so it wraps around.
Looks
and the
like
holes are in here, so it looks
pages.
like pages. And then you
So
have this
cute.
beautiful mug up here with the die cut elements. And then you have this other stitched book. And again, this is the 3D folder. It's a simple background, but it's very effective. And then the Glimmer Sentiment.
Darling. We got to leave the owl there for a minute.
Yeah, we'll
'cause
leave
he's
the
so
owl.
cute.
We can leave him there. He's so cute.
I'll pop this under there.
Yeah. And then here is the Glimmer background. So for the
Oh, I
background,
love
the
it.
backgrounds this month, I just wanted to do simple backgrounds that you could use with all the things that you would put on top of your card.
Yeah.
So it's
And it's
just
still
like
got that page type of look,
Yeah.
you know, like it's got those fun uneven stripes.
Stripe,
Love it.
yep.
This is a glimmer plate you're gonna use all year long.
yeah, and you
with so many
exactly
things.
you can use
Yeah.
this with any of the dies or any of the dies with it, not just in club, with any of the Spellbinders dies.
Yep.
And then here it is with the stamp stamp set, which is the gnome, and this is a stencil on the tag.
Love it.
So there's that. We won't cover the owl. We'll leave a little owl where he's living right now. And then the next one that we're going to share with you is the 2D folder, which I touched on that just prior to showing you this. But you can see it's just a very simple pattern, which is just this line and just this little raised dot. Again,
So
this you
cute.
can marry this with anything
Anything, exactly.
if you just want a simple
Got a
background.
subtle little inked background there. Love it.
With the beautiful
The little stitch
mug,
die. Love
stitched
it.
mug. And this is the 2D folder, which I wasn't sure if we were going to get this effect of the scallop check, but it really did work out well.
So
and I
cool.
love it. And again, you can use this background on anything, and here you can see it.
On
you
Mr.
can see it
Owl.
on the owl, just with the splatter background. Again, simple backgrounds that work with anything.
Still got that booky vibe too,
Yep.
which I love.
And then this is actually
the Better Press.
It's the Better Press, and the inspiration for this was a vintage book cover.
Oh yeah.
Like
totally
you see those
it. Mm-hmm.
book covers that have the gold foil, and that was the
And
inspiration.
I've seen
for this.
so many beautiful projects online. By the way, you guys have to make sure to check all of our online inspiration, our Instagram, our Facebook, all the good things.
And you can see
It's
here
so
that
pretty.
the sentiments glimmered, and then the background has been better pressed.
2 for 1, 2 for 1 with better press.
And
Love
then,
it.
I know we do a lot of gnomes here, but people love our gnomes. They do. So
And
as
these
long-
ones are particularly
as long
sweet.
as people are liking them, I'm gonna keep doing them. And these are gnomes that are reading books.
Stamp and die.
Like, look how cute that is. I love this background too, with the inked background. And look at all
So
the
fun.
coloring on this. It's just beautiful.
This has got some of
Bold
those
pastels.
vibrant colors. Yep,
so
absolutely.
cute. And then another bookmark.
And such cute everyday sentiments too.
Yeah.
I love those.
And then
Couple more.
we have the stencil. And again, the stencil is 3 different
It's got a
patterns.
variety, yeah.
Yeah. So we went ahead and mimicked the scalloped check. And then here's kind of a little wonky check. And then here are kind of a wonky line.
Cute.
Yeah. Again, very simple backgrounds. You can use these with all your dyes and craft products. Then we have the wax seal, which I need the card back.
Pop this one back with the seal
Yeah.
on it. There we go.
And this is the wax seal, and it says congrats on your new chapter. So
Such a sweet
such a-
sentiment.
just a sweet sentiment.
Yeah.
Wedding,
for
you can use it for all sorts
anything,
of things.
yeah.
Yeah.
New job, anything. Moving.
Graduation, whatever
So
you guys
fun.
want. And oh, I forgot to show the foil. The foil's this
keep
beautiful
forgetting the
navy
foil.
this beautiful navy.
Every month you get a roll of foil, which is awesome for stocking up too. Then you can stock up on all your favorite colors. So it's
And then
awesome.
this is the extra bonus, which is this
The
really
fun
amazing
bonus.
castle
Oh
that
my
also works with the
gosh.
book. So
Love
again,
it.
kind of a fairy tale theme. And yeah,
People are loving this one too. I know that Skylar has been fielding questions like, "What if I just want to buy that?" And we say, "People, sign up for the deluxe caboodle. You don't even have to buy it. You'll get it as a bonus item." So yeah, that's been super popular. I love how it mixes and matches with all the things.
so that's March.
So fun.
So there's still time to sign up, correct, for March clubs.
Till the 27th.
Till the 27th, you can still sign up. And like Kim said, you don't have to sign up for the deluxe caboodle. You can sign up for individual items.
Yeah, I think we're actually doing a little quick video, right? We're going to do a little quick video, and then we're going to come back and have... No, we're not doing a video. We're doing Jennifer first? Okay. I was like, are we doing a quick video first or after?
I think Jennifer.
We should pop Jennifer in here and say, welcome, Jennifer, again. We're so excited to have you. And I am so excited to see what you're going to do
Me
with these
too.
beautiful March Club products.
We have no idea.
Hello, I'm so glad to be here. Can you still hear me okay?
Yes.
Perfect.
Okay, good. Wonderful. Just making sure. Should I go ahead and jump into what I'm creating today?
Absolutely.
Is that all right?
Yeah.
We're excited.
Okay. Well, I am very excited because if you've watched my channel, you know that I'm a huge Spellbinders fan. Not only do I like the design of their products, they always knock it out of the park, but the quality of their products and the team is one of my favorites. So I'm very glad to be here today. And I'm a big fan of the clubs because of the value, and the designs never disappoint. So this month was really fun. I didn't get a chance to use it because things have been a little hectic here, so I was glad that I got to use it today. I'll be using 2 of the different March clubs, really focusing on the one. I think it's the large die of the month that has the house and the books. So I will focus on that, but I also have an example of another using a similar technique. So let me go ahead and switch to the overhead. So this is the card that I'm going to focus on making today, and then I have an extra example here. Now, the cool thing about this card is it flattens to go in your envelope, so you can see how flat that gets. But then it also, see, it pops up. And so it really gets a lot of dimension when you stand it up on display. And when it stands on your desk, the bottom of the book here sits like along the desk along with the card. So you get this really cool, can you see that? A really cool kind of pop-up effect here. And this is something that isn't hard to do. All you need for the pop-up effect is some cardstock and a scoreboard. That's all you need. So I do also have, I'll be making this card, but this one is really the same technique. You can see it's all popped up here. Let me try to get a side view. You can see it's popped up there. With this one, I also incorporated the stitching die. So I'm not going to show this one today, but it's done very, very similar. So I did, because there's so much die cutting in these projects today, in this project, I went ahead and did some die cutting off screen. But I wanted to talk to you about the colors of cardstock I use. Now, here's the thing. I used colors that were inspired by Yana because I, like all of you, am a big fan of her work. So I did a dark background with the bright colors on top. And so you can see I've got the dark navy cardstock. So let me just show you the colors that I'm using today, because these are all from Spellbinders. That navy that I'm using is the Cosmic Sky, which is one of my favorite navies. It's like a bright blue navy, not like a dull navy. Does that make any sense? So it's definitely one of my go-to navy colors. And then I also have Waterfall and Lagoon. Those go nicely together. And we have Peach Sorbet and Terracotta. And then Rainforest and, how do you say that? Peridot? I don't know how to say it. But anyways, these two go very nicely together also. Then we have more of our neutral colors. I have the Silver Fox, which is a great light gray color that's nice to use instead of a white, and then the graphite. So these are the colors of cardstock that I use today, but you can definitely use whatever cardstocks you may have. Now let's look at the products I'm using today. You can see mine are very well loved here. I have this is the large die of the month for March. And then this, I believe, is the stitching die of the month. I just put them on magnetic boards so I didn't lose pieces while I was talking here. And then I'm also going to use this little extra Spellbinder set from their postage and parcel collection. The reason I'm using this is I just wanted to use that little heart die there. So really it's for this little heart on the house. You could definitely skip that if you wanted to, but I think that little pop of pink is really fun. Okay, and then we also have the 3D embossing folder for March, the March Club. The nice thing about what I really love about Spellbinders embossing folders is the size. So you can use these on an A2 card, you can use these on a 5x7 card, a slimline, and I really like the versatility of that because I know a lot of people make 5x7 cards, and me, I just like to make them every once in a while. I think it's a fun way to kind of change up and kind of get a refresh on your card making. Okay, so let me go ahead and grab, we're gonna start by assembling all of the little die cuts here. And I did the die cutting ahead of time just to save some time, but this is something that you definitely could play along with if you have these dies at your house. Now I'm going to do these books here first. And notice what I've done is I did the die cutting from a light cardstock for the top layer and then a darker cardstock for the bottom layer. So this is these are the colors that I showed you before, right before I started here. And I'm putting strong liquid adhesive on the back of it and then adding the darker color behind it. So this will give us that little bit of darker color popping through. All right. Now I will be gluing a bunch of die cuts together. So if you have questions that I can answer, you definitely can put them in the comments there because I can see the comments and I'd be happy, or in the little chat. I'd be happy to try to answer things here. Now, when I do die cutting, die cutting is my favorite, first of all. I find die cutting just so versatile and the things that you can do. And I will say it, I enjoy it more than stamping. When I die cut, I do like to stack die cuts together just for that added dimension, but you definitely don't have to if you don't want to. So some of my die cuts, I'll mention them when I get to them. I did already glue 2 layers together before coming on here, just so I would have some of that started. I saw somebody ask about what I put my cardstock in. They're just job ticket holders that I've been using for many years from an office supply store, and I just cut the top off. So it's really, really quite easy. Okay, Erica. Hi, Erica. I see you have a question about the containers. let me talk about those containers while this dries here. These containers are from Spellbinders. I don't have my lid here. I'll show you on a bigger one. They come in 2 sizes. There's this large size and then the medium size, and that has a lid that comes on it. But my lid for this little one is on the other side of the room. So here's the large one, and you can see the lid snaps in, so you can stack these very well. And you can also stack them without the lids on. So these are all stacked without lids on. One thing that I like to do to make it easier to take the lid off is I put a little piece of tape on the end so I can just pull that tab and open it very quickly and easily. But these are fantastic because you can see the bigger one here, I can put all my card-based stuff in. You can also fit it in a smaller one. So this is an A2 card, well, no, that's not. Here's an A2 card panel, and you can see it fits in there very nicely. So I find these very helpful as I'm like planning out what I'm going to do, or in this case, I did a bunch of die cutting ahead of time, and I wanted to have it ready to go. So yeah, these containers are from Spellbinders. I think they're called the Craft Stacks, maybe Craft Stacks, something like that. So you should be able to find them on their website. They just came out with them very recently, and I went and I bought a bunch of them because I think they're fantastic. All right, so question, how do top folding cards stay upright? Very good question. Top folding cards will stay upright for my biggest tip for keeping it upright is to use a heavyweight cardstock. So I used for this card base, the Cosmic Sky, I think it's called, from Spellbinders, and that I can trust. A heavyweight cardstock, especially those that you get from little craft companies like Spellbinders and some of the others, those you can be assured that it's heavyweight enough that it works for a card base. If you're finding your card base kind of flops down, chances are the cardstock that you're using is not heavyweight enough. You really want a strong card base. The other thing is when you score your cardstock to fold in half, that score line is also important to make sure that it opens and closes nicely. And then think about it, in the mail, it will get pressed down in the closed position so that when the recipient gets it, it should stand up just fine and not fall down. But for me, it's all about the quality of cardstock. I stick with high quality cardstock for my card bases. Another thing you can do is if you're using a lighter weight cardstock for your note card, try cutting another piece of cardstock to put inside where you write your personal message. So this will look like you're really just putting something there for your personal message, but really you're adding also some stability to the back of it. So it should stand up absolutely fine. Okay, so now I have these pieces assembled right here. I'm going to do, well, let's go ahead and do our house next. So you can see how handy these, how handy all of these little trays are. So next, I'm coming in with my little house here. Now I cut these from, let's see, let me move some of these out of the way. I cut this from, let's see, white cardstock, the Silver Fox, and the graphite. Now I'm just assembling these to just get some dimension to them. I am a big fan of dimension, but keep in mind, a lot of crafters like to use a lot of dimension, but that doesn't mean that that's how your cards need to be. You may prefer to go with less dimension so that you can put it through the mail with no problem. It's really up to you. All right. June asked, how much product would one craft stacks hold? I don't know. So there you can see the thickness of it. This is the medium size and the larger is the one that you see here. So I don't know how deep those are, maybe 3/4 of an inch. Oh, my brother's actually in the comments and he's replying with the measurements. So I'm just gluing these together. And that's one of the nice things about these clubs is it's very easy to figure out how things layer together. But if you are stumped, go to the Spellbinders website because there are always amazing cards. Always. Usually there's some amazing ones from Yana that inspire me. So you can always go there to see how things get assembled. Uh, one of the things that I personally feel very strongly about and that I enjoy doing on my cards is adding the details. Like here, I could leave this little window open and just have that gray showing through. But by just adding the little bit of white die cut in there, it just makes it pop a bit more. All right, now I want to add white into the windows here, but remember that this is open. There's nothing to glue it to. So I'm going to show you how I like to cheat when I craft. Cheating is welcome and okay in the crafting world. I'm putting a piece of tape on the back here, okay? And then I can take these little die cuts and pop them in place. So now you don't see through the windows unless you want to. And I can put the little white in place. All right. There are more questions, Mike. Do you see any? All right. Look at that. Isn't that cute? Now this you could use in so many different ways. You could put little flowers on the bottom. You can, when you have holiday cards to make, you can add little holiday things to it. But I'm just going to stick with the simple house today. And again, I did this with the silver fox and the graphite, I believe it is. All right. Oops, I'm all fingers today. Very nervous, ladies. I'm very nervous. Okay. It's one thing to go live on your channel, and if you mess up, it's okay. But going live on somebody else's channel, oy vey. Okay, can you see that? Is it focusing? I don't know if it's focusing or not. Ooh, come on, focus. I think that's good. Okay, so now we have our little house. I will add that heart to it, but I'm going to do that in a bit. Okay, now I want to connect these pieces because all of these pieces will together pop up. So what I have done is, again, I have done a little bit of cheating. Let me get my piece where I did my cheating out. Okay. I'm going to connect all these with a piece of cardstock in the back. But first, instead of fumbling with it and trying to get it all connected, I'm going to take some tape and tape the pieces together. Now, looking at my example here, I started with my blue book at the bottom. So I'll place the blue book upside down first. Then I'll place my teal colored right next to it. So butt up against it. So they're just stacked. And then I'm going to put some Scotch tape on the back. Nobody's going to see the Scotch tape, right? So it doesn't really matter. Then on top of that, we have our peach colored book. You can stagger these a little bit or center them, completely up to you. So now these are all connected together, which makes it so much easier than having all those individual pieces. Then we have our blue book, which, by the way, I did white for the pages. So I'll flip that over and add the blue. All right. Anybody have any questions for me while I do this? Okay, so those pieces are connected. And then finally, we have our house. So I got to decide how I want my house to be on here. So what I'm going to do is put my tape right along the bottom. So you see that this part right here is sticky facing up. And then I can tuck it in here wherever I want it to be. I think I want it to be right about there and press that down. So now this is all connected by tape. However, it's still floppy, right? Because it's only Scotch tape. So I just cut a piece of cardstock. This happens to be 1.5 by 3 3/4 inches. And the reason I cut that size is it fit behind here nicely. So now this piece will be a connector and also give some stability to all of these die cuts so they don't flop around like this. All right, so now I do need to cut a little bit off the top. Hang on, let me get my scissors out. And by the way, can we take a moment of appreciation for the greatest scissors of all times? I love these shears. These are fantastic. Okay, so I'm trimming off just a little bit there because I noticed it might be a little bit too tall with the top of my house. So now I've got this piece that is 100% for support. And you know what? I'm going to put, so I don't have to wait for it to dry, I'm going to put just some tape runner on this. You could use liquid adhesive, tape runner, double-sided tape, just something that you trust will be strong. So I'm placing this on the back, and now look at this. It's all one die cut. So if you ever want to do a technique where you have a bunch of die cuts that you want to have connected, just tape on the back and then also put a support on there. So now this whole thing will be able to pop up when we do our fun pop-up technique. Okay. Everybody doing okay? Is this making sense what I'm creating here? I'm hoping. Yes, the scissors are wonderful. They also have the smaller ones too. The babies, the Big Mama and the babies. I love these. They're fantastic. And I like that they don't get, like I use mine to cut through adhesive and they don't get mucky. They don't get all gooey. In fact, when you have issues, you get 2 pairs. You have to buy a spare because you know your children will steal them. And I know I have another one upstairs where we wrap gifts. So anyway, got my scissors handy. All right. Does putting Scotch tape on the back of it make it harder to adhere to the card? No, because see, there's room between the tape and it tapes fine on there. Absolutely fine. Yeah, they seem to be anti-stick scissors. I don't know if they're declared that, but I have no stick issues with them. So, okay, now I do want to create some trees. And I tend, as if you've watched my videos before, you know that I tend to go overboard with my die cutting. Not only do I like the dimension, I also like to add a lot of details. So instead of just using a couple die or 2 or 3 die cuts on each of the trees, I'm going to do some extras. So let me find my die set so I can show you. So here we have it. So there's this die here that cuts one element of the tree. There's one here that cuts another element, and then there's this little one. Now, if you go over to the Spellbinders website, which I did, because I love looking at their examples, they show many different ways you could assemble those pieces to create a tree, but I went over the top. I pretended this is a tree that's been around for a long time and is nice and full. That seems to be what I do. All right, now I'm going to first, let's go ahead and put our trees onto our book here. So it's kind of growing out of the book. So let me flip everything over. And I know I want a tree over here and I want a tree over here. But I also want to make sure that I stay within the confines of my note card. All right, because we don't want anything, we want this to flatten and still fit into a 4 1/4 by 5 1/2 inch A2 envelope. So here I have my A2 card base. I will use this for my card in a moment, but this is the size of my overall card in the end. So I want to make sure that everything I do stays within this outside edge. So I'm going to put my card down here onto my desk so I can make sure I don't make it so my trees are sticking off the side. Now, if you want your trees to stick off the side, you definitely could. Just use a bigger envelope. There's no reason to not. You could always use a 5 by 7 envelope with a smaller card inside. So I put a little drop of liquid adhesive, something really strong, right here on the book, right there. And I'm going to place one of my trees like right about there. Now, I want to really make sure that that holds, and I don't want to wait for it to dry. So I'm going to put a little piece of Scotch tape on it too. So this is only attached by that tiny little spot. So I do want to make sure I use something strong. And for me, that's liquid adhesive and then a piece of Scotch tape on top, just to be sure. And again, nobody's going to see the back of this, so it doesn't matter. I will say one thing that I think is really important with this particular card design is these trees right here. Those are pretty thin and delicate die cuts, aren't they? So I want to make sure that they aren't flimsy. So each of these trees I die cut twice and glued them together. So these are 2 die cuts thick, so that's why they're nice and strong. And I cannot remember the name of this color of cardstock. Maybe Kim or Josie or Yana can pop in and tell me this, the brown color, if they get a second. Okay, so I have those adhered and taped. So there's my little trees coming up the top. Can you see that in there okay? All right. I'm just checking to see if there's any, yeah. Please put those shears. It was on, I actually did a crafty gift guide list this year, and these babies were on that list for sure. Okay, so now it's time to fill in those trees, and there really is no right or wrong way to do this. Oh, Yana, thank you. This color is latte. Let me grab it so you can see it. Hang on. Just a moment, I'll be right back. I have all these cardstocks right here. I do want to give a shout out to the 2 browns that Spellbinders has, because I find like a chocolate, like a light chocolate brown color is hard to find, but this Spellbinders latte is a good option. And then I also like the Portobello because it's similar to the color of Craft, but without like the speckly kind of ness, you know, like the, I don't know how you, so it's like a paper bag without that look of texture in it. It's very smooth. So these are great brown options. I use latte for the tree. Thank you, Yana. Okay. So now I can fill this tree in however I want. I'm going to try to make both sides look, you know, the same kind of fullness, but I will constantly go back and make sure that I'm staying within the confines of my note card. So I put some strong liquid adhesive on the back of that, and then I'm just going to stick it on here however I want. So there's really no right or wrong way. And I'm only doing a little bit of adhesive. You saw it was only a little bit of glue, but I can go back when I'm done and add a little bit of glue here and there wherever I feel it's necessary. So now here, this one, I can put more glue on. This one's going to go on top. So I know I'm going to sandwich these branches between, and it can also come down and touch the house a little bit. It could go behind the house if you prefer. It really is up to you. All right. Any questions on there? All right. All right, so I'm going to I like to put something heavy on top while it dries. You could use an acrylic block. I just have a crystal block here. You really can use anything to kind of give that bit of support. I'm going to put some more adhesive under here. But putting something heavy on it while it dries is always going to end up giving you better results. Let me see. I'm going to let's tuck one up here too. Yeah. I'm going to tuck one in here. Mike, are there any questions?
No.
No questions. Okay. Now I'm going to make sure this is still fitting. And look it's still fitting. So I'm still good here. I don't want my tree to go up past that because I want it to be able to still fit in my envelope. All right. So I'm going to let's put this guy right here. There's really no wrong way to put these together. Now, I know I've got these kind of sticking off the top, but I'll come back to it. All right. So I'd love to hear from you all in the comments. Which is your favorite of all the clubs? Now, I'm a big fan of the giant caboodle. Is that what's called? The kitten caboodle? Caboodle, because so many things are included in it. You know, you get so much for such a good value. I'd love to hear what you all find to be your favorite. Yes, you can do layers on layers with these trees. You could also use the smaller one to create like little bushes down by the house. You know, you could do all kinds of things. I also was thinking about, I'm not going to try it, but I saw this splatter white from Spellbinders. I just got this and it's great for putting tiny little flicks of white. And I thought that would have been fun to do on these die cuts before you added them. So you have little white, little like blossoms on your flowers. But I didn't do that, and I don't want to risk that right now. Deluxe caboodle. I feel like I had something called a caboodle when I was a kid, and it's what I stored all my jewelry in. I don't know. Anyway. All right, so I'm just filling in the trees, and there's really, again, no right or wrong way to do this. All right. Put some in here, and you can always give your tree a haircut if like you don't want the branches out so far, but I want to make sure that I am staying within the card confines here. All right, so let me put this here. Yeah, and then I might put one that kind of goes across the back to fill it up. Let me do that. So put some adhesive on here, and remember, you can always put tape on the back if you need to also. Tuck that in there. There we go. I like that. And then I think I will come in and cut these little branches that are sticking off. So my trees look a little bit different than the example one, but that just shows you can do your trees however you want. And I am shaking like a leaf. All right. Yes, a caboodle was a little organizer. Okay, so now I have my trees, and you can see how everything is still contained within that size. I am going to put a little bit of tape on the back here because I know I did a lot of die cutting together, and I'm not really given much time for that liquid glue to dry. Okay, so now we have that. The final thing that I can add to these is this is that little heart that is from the die set that I showed you earlier. I just think this is the perfect heart. And in that set, it has a few different sizes. So you have the tiny hearts if you rather something smaller. And then there are the three bigger. I use this size here, but I think I'm heart picky. I'm heart picky, and I like these hearts. Okay, so the last piece for this is the hello. Now this is from, I believe it is called the Everyday Sentiments. It is from Simon Hurley in Spellbinders. And I like the die set so much that I have die cut a ton of them that I've already ready to go to add on cards. Let me show you. So you can see I have a bunch of the shadows already cut from white and the words cut from black. And I like to have like good basic sentiments like this prepared, because then it makes crafting much faster, right? When it's time to, sometimes I do a card and I'm like, I just need a bold sentiment, and to have these ready. Now these I will take to my son's baseball game and I'll glue them together so they're already stacked and even ready to add. So I added the hello right there. But keep in mind, a lot of these clubs had great book-themed sentiments that you could have used there instead. And another fun option with cards, I like to do a lot when I do my own personal crafting, is leave the sentiment off until you have a particular occasion you think of. All right, so now we have this whole element ready to go, and this is what we're gonna pop on the front of our card. But I still need to do the embossing folder in the background and make that pop-up feature. So I have the Spellbinders 3D embossing folder of the month. I think this is a really neat one because it goes with a variety of style of cards. And the nice thing is, I got to move my water so I don't spill it. The nice thing is it isn't too distracting. So this is going to be a fun backdrop to our card. Now, I will say me normally, like I would normally like put this on a lighter color note card, maybe a light blue or on white, but I've been really inspired by Yana lately to do the darker background, and look at how that just stands out so much more. So yeah, you all may think you're Yana's biggest fan, but I am the president of the fan club. So you're just gonna have to step aside. Okay. So I have a 3D embossing folder, and one of the things that I love about my Platinum is it tells me right on it what I need to do. So how to build a 3D embossing folder sandwich. So it says to do the platform base, then you do the embossing folder and the D adapter plate, which is the gray one. So I'm going to get that out. And so now I never have to remember that. You know, I can just wing it, or I can just look at that every time. So I think I could open up my note card, right, and put it in so that the back flap of the card is hanging out. But I really want this card to be extra sturdy. So I cut another card panel. This is just a panel, not a folded card, that is the same size as our note card, 4 1/4 by 5.5 inches. So this is the size piece I have. And again, this is that beautiful cosmic sky color that I love so much. Now, you could mist this with a little water if you want, but you know, I don't want to have to wait for it to dry or heat set it, so I'm just going to skip that. One of the things I like to do when I have an embossing folder with a repeating pattern is I try to put it into the folder so that it fits within the pattern. So kind of where it's hitting up here, 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 and here is similar. It just makes it a little more pleasing to the eye. So I'm putting that inside of my embossing folder here, and I'm following the sandwich. Yes, Yana knocked it out of the park with the Celebration collection. Oh my goodness, that peony better press plate. Oy vey, that thing is gorgeous. I did a live on my channel where I showed how you can use that one press plate with the better press or to foil, or to make an impression with the embossing mat in your platinum. It just, so many ways you can use these better press plates. Okay, so now we have that beautiful texture. I think something that would be really cool here would be to just do a background like this, and on each of those dots, maybe add a little gemstone or add a little bit of acrylic marker so you have a little dots with the pattern. A lot of things you can do with it, but today we are just doing a background. Now, normally I would glue this with, like a liquid adhesive or double-sided tape, but we're gonna save a little time here. I'm just using some tape runner. And again, I could have done this embossing folder pattern directly on the front of the note card, but this makes it stronger now. I'm gonna trim off a little extra here. Sometimes when you do a panel in an embossing folder, it kind of shrinks the paper, kind of pulls it in. So it's a little bit too short for my note card. So I'm just trimming the bottom of my note card off. So there we go. And look how bright that is. Isn't that pretty? Love this navy color. Now, somebody asked earlier, how do you make sure that your card doesn't flop down? If you have a card and when you open it, it goes like this, kind of flops open, that means the cardstock you're using is too thin. Now, this Spellbinders is nice and thick, so that won't happen with this one. But one of the things you can do to really make sure, to make sure that your card base is very heavy and won't flop down is to put an extra piece of cardstock on the inside. So I mentioned this before, and I have this here. Now I have a nice place to write my sentiment. So this is the white cardstock on the inside, and we have the texture on the front, this cosmic sky. All right, now for the fun part, if I can find the piece. Now for the fun part, let me make sure I remember how to do this. Just one moment. Okay. So I have a piece of cardstock here, and this is what we're going to turn to be a pop-up feature that'll make this go from that to up, like stick out about an inch from your card. And that is this piece of cardstock here. Now, I find when I do this technique, 4 inches is the magic number. It just works really well. That's what I'm using today, 4 inches tall. As far as how wide to do, I did 2.5 because it would hide behind this. Behind the books. I could have gone a little wider if I wanted to. But really, you want to make sure that you can put this when it's all folded up, it'll be hidden behind this element you're popping up. So I went today with 2.5 by 4 inches. All right. Yeah, the peony plate is beautiful. And I'm hoping, and I know Jana's listening because I can see her on my screen. Jana, I want poinsettias. Please, 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 please. Okay, so now time for the pop-up. And if you want to make a note of this and keep it somewhere, the way to do a pop-up is always do the 4 inches tall. I showed you the 4 inches tall, and then do the score lines the same way I'm doing. The first scored line I'm doing is at a 1/2 inch. So I've got a scoreboard here, score line at a 1/2 inch. Then next, score line at 1.5. Okay. Then after 1.5, you go to 2.5. And after 2.5, you go to 3.5. So this piece I scored at a 1/2 inch, 1.5, 2.5, 3.5. So now I have these 4 score lines down my cardstock piece. I hope you can see them there. All right, so now I'm going to fold along all of these. And I like to really reinforce that fold line with a bone folder. And you see, I'm folding them all in the same direction. So once I'm done, it'll look kind of like a rectangle, like a dimensional rectangle here, like that. Let me put some white cardstock behind it so you can see. All right. So see how those two ends kind of meet there, and it's kind of like a cube. So this is what's going to go behind it. So I could have gone white, a little bit wider, but I really didn't need to. As long as the width of this piece fits behind that, you're good to go. Okay, next I am going to use double-sided tape for this. Let me grab my tape. Now you could use liquid adhesive here, and that's what I normally would do. Again, we would have to wait for it to dry. I do recommend using something very strong for this because you don't want this to come undone. So the first thing I just have this white here, by the way, so you can see the navy better on my desk. On one of the flaps, the end flaps, I'm going to put strong adhesive. So I'm using some strong double-sided adhesive here. You know, as far as like flopping down, another thing here, let me pull this card up. If you're meaning like it slides down, I still feel like that is resolved by using a heavier weight cardstock because it scores very nicely and that score line will stay nice and strong. And also remember, it's going to be in an envelope in the closed position, so it should kind of retain that wanting to kind of stand up on its own. All right. Mike, are there any questions there? Yes, the Spellbinder scissors are the best. And the craft, those stacks, those containers, dreamy. Okay, so now I want to put this flap, so I'm gonna put the white behind it. So I'm gonna fold this flap down. So see how it looks like that there? It's kind of folded over. And the crease right here, I'm gonna line up with the bottom of my card and try to center it. I'll show you here in a second. It doesn't have to be perfectly centered, but let me show you. So see how the flap there is glued up right against the bottom. Wait, did I do that right? Yes, I did it right. Just making sure. Okay, so that's glued right along the bottom there. Okay. Now, along this next flap, the other end here, we'll put double-sided tape on that too. So I'm just going to open it up here so you can see it better. Isn't this blue gorgeous? I agree. So funny thing, I'm not a huge navy fan. Like I never wear navy. I think it's because I can never get my navies to match. But I've been using navy more in cardstock and card making lately because of Yana, and also because of a bright blue navy like this. I don't like a grayish navy. I like this bright blue. Okay, so now I have adhesive on this other flap. What I'm going to do here is the end of this flap will come up and meet the end of the other flap that's already glued down. So I'm just going to take this and fold it around. And the two flap ends will meet together. Let me point to it. They're meeting together right in here. Let me see if I can get that to show better. Right in there. So you end up with this little rectangle that sticks out the front of your card. You want to really press that down, especially since we're gluing this on texture. All right, we're on the home stretch here. This is the last step on this. So you can really put anything you want on to this little thing, as long as when you flatten it, it fits within the card size. All right, so now on the front of that rectangle pop-up here, we're going to put some strong adhesive. Again, make sure you're pretty generous. You want this to stay put. You don't want this to come off in the mail. All right. So I'm going to remove the release paper. Does anybody else just take these and like throw them off to the side? You should see my desk when I'm done. Okay. Now, when you add this, you want to make sure that this is flat. You want this to be flat so that everything will fit into the envelope. So I'm going to take this and I put the bottom of my book right along the bottom of the card. So I'm going to line that up down there. And because I planned it out earlier, you can see it all fits in that rectangle. So now this, when it pops up, see this drops down lower? Can you tell that when it pops up, this drops down lower than the bottom of the card? But that's okay, because when you stand your card up, it's at a little bit of an angle. And so this will hit the table, this will hit the table, and so will this. And it looks like the books, I wish you could see it. It looks like the books are kind of floating in front of your card. If this were, pretend this is the table. See how it just sits on there? And it really pops up nicely. And it flattens to go into a regular envelope. So there you have it. You've got this great dimension. Now, I do recommend, if you do this card, do a top folding card. That way, when see it pops up and this, put the white underneath it, this is sticking down farther, it'll stand up and that hits right there. If you did a side folding card, it wouldn't work as well. So a top folding card is really key. The way you make a top folding card is you take an 8.5 by 11 piece of cardstock, cut it down the middle, the long ways, and then score right in half at 5.5. And there you have that card. And then we have this one here too. And this one we did with the stitching. So on this one, I'll just show you, I know I'm probably taking up too much time, but that's what I always do. I did the white DMC. It's like a white metallic. I don't know if you can see it's iridescent. And I did white stitching on these pieces here. And I did add some of the leaves from this die set also. And you can see I also use that hello. I use those often. So there we have our dimensional cards that pop up wonderfully and stand really nice on display. Now this one, by the way, this might want to slide because it hasn't been flattened. If you go and you flatten that crease really well, because I just opened up, it'll stand fine on display. There we go. There we go. So that's it. That's what I have for you today. I hope that this is something that you'll give a try and think about all the different cool color combinations that might work with this. And if you are looking for color combinations, I encourage you to go to the Spellbinders website and look at all the examples. Yana and several others have great eye for color, and it's a great place to get some inspiration. Yes, somebody asked if you could do this in a 5x7. 100% can do this in a 5x7 card. The little pop-up feature would be the exact same size. Do the same thing. And then you would just put this on the bottom of a 5x7 card and you would just have a bigger platform, but the technique would be the exact same. This pop-up feature you can put on the bottom of any card. So that's it. I think I'm going to pass it. I don't know who I'm passing it off to now, but I'm passing it off to somebody, hopefully.
It's all good, Jennifer. We've got you. We are going to show a short video right here, but I wanted you to stay there for a second because we had one other question that somebody answered. And it's probably putting you on the spot a little bit, but we wanted to ask you, like, what's your favorite, either current club or maybe all-time favorite club that you can recall? Or is there one that stands out in your mind? It's all good, Jennifer. We've got you. We are going to show a short video right here, but I wanted you to stay there for a second because we had one other question that somebody answered. And it's probably putting you on the spot a little bit, but we wanted to ask you, like, what's your favorite, either current club or maybe all-time favorite club that you can recall? Or is there one that stands out in your mind?
Should I answer now?
Yeah.
We are going to show.
My favorite club my favorite to get every month is definitely the stitching. I'm a big fan of the stitching. I find it very therapeutic, and I've been known to stitch just about anywhere. But one of my all-time favorites, it was a long time ago, it was the whale.
Oh, in the bottle.
In the bottle. I loved that one. I thought it was just so well done and so unique. So that's probably my favorite all-time.
Awesome.
Yes.
I totally
one of my favorites,
I pick
too.
up the ocean vibe from Jennifer a lot
Yeah.
too, so that totally makes sense. Awesome. So before we continue on here in the studio, we are going to throw up a real quick video
time ago,
just to
it
kind
was
of
the
capture
whale
March, the March
in the
Club in
bottle.
general.
I loved
Take a
that
look at
one.
that.
I thought it was just so well done.
Welcome back.
We're back.
That was fast. We're like, hello. So we did see Jennifer do some really fun things. We've got some question and answers, which we're going to do in a second. But I thought first, since we just had this really great kind of segue in from what Jennifer showed with the craft stacks, that we just briefly show you some of our craft stacks fun, because some of you had questions about that. And then we're going to have a little question and answer sesh. So definitely stick around for that. And don't forget, we got prize winners then too
And
later.
we'll name those. here
But
soon.
craft stacks, just in general, we have 3 different sets of craft stacks. Jennifer showed very nicely the 2 different sizes, but they are available in a couple different configurations. You can either get the large tray, which has the 2 trays plus the 2 lids. That comes in a set. Or you can get the little babies, which is the medium trays And the sets, there's 4 of those in this pack with lids, of course. Or the combo set, which I think is really fun. So you got the combo set, plus the bottom, the large on the bottom and the 2 small on the top. All have been amazing sellers, but
Yeah.
you guys want to see what we do with them? Let's check out this large one. Oh my gosh.
It's just
Someone said, how much do these hold? So we're kind of cracking up.
That's a lot.
This is very much I'm kind of in the Jennifer mode here. When I like a sentiment, whether it's Better Press, Glimmer, whatever, we just do a ton of them. We have extras.
Yep.
We pop them in here. The lid just snaps nicely on here and stays put. And again, you can stack it up.
And an A2 card fits in here, and you can fit a 5x7 card in here, and
Exactly.
yeah,
We
they stack up.
even finished cards. We'll just pop
Yeah.
our finished cards in here.
it's great for
Or
die,
pieces.
die sets.
Absolutely. All the good things.
Yeah.
So we just kind of wanted to share a little bit closer up look with
Yeah, we had picked
the
these
craft
out
stacks
to
and what we
feature,
have.
and yeah, they're great.
And Josie helped design these, of course, and we've got Jennifer kind of mentioned fun little things that could add on to these. So
We're working on
you're
accessories.
working on some accessories.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
just
this
watch
was-
for more things to be in the craft stacks
I was
line.
really excited to see these come to life because we were working on these for quite a while, and
Stack, stack.
Denzel did a great job executing the whole idea and concept behind the craft stacks and how they work.
Exactly.
So
Okay, so I have a few questions and answers from you guys and ones we just wanted to share. So maybe we'll do Yana first, if we can bring Yana back into the window. Yana, I'm going to ask you about your new collection.
Denzel did a
Jennifer
great
referred to
job
it. It is called
executing
Let's Celebrate. It has an amazing
idea
kind of
and
offering of
concept
products,
behind
everything from
craft stacks and how they
dyes
work.
to better press to wax seals. But share a little bit about that.
So,
and I
what's
have
your
a
favorite?
few questions and answers from you guys and ones we just wanted to share. So maybe we'll do Yana first. Getting a little delay now, maybe.
Back into the window.
We'll let Yana catch up and she can
Um,
answer our questions.
Yana,
I'm going to ask you about your new collection. Jennifer referred to it. It is called Let's Celebrate. It has an amazing. She's like, I'm up there. Hopefully she can hear
I
us.
don't know
Better
if she
press
can
to
hear us. Can
wax
she hear
seals,
us?
but share a little bit about that.
So,
I
what's
have
your
a
favorite?
few questions and answers from you guys, and
She's
ones
like,
we just
I'm
wanted to
ready
share,
for my
so
question.
Hey, I seem to be having a little bit of an audio delay, so sorry about that. To answer your question, what is my favorite product from my new Let's Celebrate collection? That is the Peony Celebrate Better
If you guys
Press
can't hear
plate.
Yana, we'll
It is a reverse
her
plate,
repeat.
and I actually have a couple of examples here that I can show you. So this one right here, you can see that I did this
There
in
you go.
black ink, and the idea is that you do your background using whatever ink color that you want, and then you color the flowers using a coloring medium. Now, if you're not into the dark backgrounds, if you're not into the whole dark moody, you can totally go cheerful and vibrant and colorful. So here I have 2 examples. Here are 2 more examples. And also, that's my favorite plate because you can foil with it. I love to foil with Better Press plates. And here is an example where I use
Beautiful.
the matte gold foil. And that's not all. You can also use the leftover to do a positive foiled image. Jennifer did a live, I think it was last Sunday when the collection just launched, and she shared so many techniques. I was like, wow, I didn't even know that you could do that many things with that plate. So be sure to go over to Jennifer's channel and watch it. I also have a video on my channel where I show how this plate can be used in detail. I share all the things, but not as much as Jennifer. So be sure to watch Jennifer's video.
Should we ask Jennifer her question?
You guys definitely have a mutual fan club going on. I
Yeah.
love that.
So be sure to go over to Jennifer's channel and watch it. I also have
So now we have a
video on
question
my
for
channel where I
Jennifer, if
show
we can bring
how
Jennifer back
this
on,
plate can be
and hopefully we
used
don't have a
in
little
detail.
delay.
I
We'll see
share
what's
all the
happening
things,
here.
but not as much as Jennifer. So be sure to watch Jennifer's video.
Should we ask Jennifer her question?
You guys definitely have a mutual fan club going on. I
Yeah.
love that.
So be sure to go over to Jennifer's channel and watch it. I also have
So now we have a
video
question
on my
for
channel where I
Jennifer.
show
If we can bring
how
Jennifer
this
back on.
plate
So Jennifer, actually, maybe I'll just have Gavin
Not as much
mute
as
the
Jennifer, so be sure to
audio
watch
we have
Jennifer's
over here. I
video.
don't know if that will help, but so Jennifer, I kind of prepped you up a little bit earlier in the segment, but you did mention stitching, how you love stitching, and you do stitching all over the You stitch all over the world. Yeah, it seems like. What's just one of your favorite things about adding stitching to a project?
Jennifer,
or just tell us a little bit more about that.
Actually, maybe I'll just have Gavin mute the audio we have over here. I don't know if that will help, but so Jennifer, I kind of prepped you up a little bit earlier in the segment, but you did mention stitching, how you love stitching and you do stitching all over the you stitch all over the world. Yeah, it seems like. What's just one of your favorite things about adding stitching to a project?
So Jennifer. Is it showing up on?
She's not coming up on audio.
Is she coming up on the Zoom at all or no?
She's on the Zoom, but I think we're having an audio issue here.
Okay. Can you all hear me?
We can hear you now.
I'm hoping. Okay. I am so sorry. I'm getting some funky audio here. But I believe you asked me about stitching just about anywhere.
Yes.
I do it all the time. I feel like it's therapeutic for me, so is gluing together die cuts. And it's just something that I can easily take on the road. And I usually will use like a pocket or zipper pouch for my stitching, but for like taking die cutting on the go or whatever, I now use the craft stacks because the lid will snap on, so I can just throw it in my bag. But yeah, I'm a big fan of taking things on the go. I have trouble with anxiety in certain situations, and it seems to help. So why not, right?
Amazing. Thank you so much. Yeah, and that's kind of what we said too. It's
Yeah.
it's kind of relaxing,
It is
therapeutic.
very
So
relaxing.
if you haven't tried it,
should
cheaper than
try it.
therapy. No,
Yeah.
still do your therapy if you
Crafty,
need it though.
crafty therapy.
That's right. That's
Yeah.
right. Okay, so then I wanted to share one of my new favorite releases, just real quick. And it's just a dye-heavy line that I absolutely love, and it is called Fresh Picked. And we actually had an original Fresh Picked launch that Josie designed in January, I think?
Yeah, January.
So now we've had Fresh Picked 2,
More
or
Fresh
TOO,
Picked. Yeah,
more Fresh
Fresh
Picked.
Picked.
One of those. Anyway, if you type Fresh Picked in our search bar, trust me, you're going to find so many
Yeah.
amazing things. It's just big, beautiful, bold blooms.
That you can do so much with. You
that
can create
was-
all sorts of backgrounds or all sorts of arrangements. You can mix and match them all together.
Yeah,
So that was a
That
fun
was,
collection.
that was a question somebody asked for me. And Josie, I think we kind of covered yours a little
covered
bit
mine,
already
yeah, for March.
club inspiration.
Yeah.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about your club inspiration for April
I'm
and
gonna
maybe
give you
show a little
guys-
tiny sneak peek? Ooh, let's do it. Who wants a sneak peek? Yay.
I'm going to share the 3D folder. So here, let me get in here on the side camera. Can you guys see what those little
Oh,
raised
there we go.
designs are? And can you guess?
Any guesses?
Any guesses on the theme of April?
I know there's a little delay when we ask questions, so we'll give someone a little minute to
Yeah.
respond. But so yeah, just tell us how you concepted this theme, just in general, without giving away too much. Just
Well, with stitching, needles are a big part of what we do. And my mom was a seamstress and a tailor at Saxford
Oh, I
Avenue for
love that.
27 years.
Wow.
And she had a sewing room. And growing up, I would sit on the table and watch her sew and watch her do all her things. And she had needles everywhere
Oh,
and
yeah.
pins everywhere. So this is kind of an honor of my mom.
oh, that's so sweet.
So
I
the
love
whole
it.
month is kind of about my mom.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's very
Yeah.
sweet. I want to give her a hug right now. Oh, Josie. Josie's mom is still with us, but she
Yep.
is in a care home, so we're keeping good care of her. Okay, so we're going to have prize giveaways, but first I want to just flip it over to our moderators real quick and see if there's any last minute questions before we announce our winners.
Hi.
They're like, woo!
So a few questions. One, would a caboodle kit fit in the large tray?
Oh gosh.
Um,
The caboodle's pretty big. I mean,
Know if you could fit the whole
let's just try real quick. Ooh, the folder fits.
folder fits.
One of the things we talked about for the trays is doing them, I'm going to hold it this way, is doing a new set. And this is still in the works, guys, so don't hold your breath, but pretty quick. We want to do a little bit deeper set.
Yeah.
So when that deeper set comes out, you can see that this fits physically in, and I'm sure the large die and all the dies
Yeah.
would too. But what do you guys think of a little bit deeper one? I think it's
I
a
think
good
it's a great
idea,
'cause
right?
then- so the idea would be that then you could stack your inks and
Yeah,
the better
some
press
different fun
inks and all the
things.
different
Yeah.
things. You can stack tools in there. So we're definitely working on that. And
Still be the same format, just
Yep.
still stacked, but just be a little
they'll
deeper.
still all work together.
So keep collecting your deluxe caboodles, and when we have the deeper one out,
Yeah.
we will let you know.
Yep.
You'll be the first to know. As always, club members are always the first to know, right? That's one of the benefits of being a club member.
Do you guys
For
want to
sure.
hear some of the guesses?
Yes.
Oh yeah, let's hear some guesses. Yeah,
So
for April.
we've got sewing, stitching, fireworks themed,
Ah.
sunshine, confetti, birthday, embroidery, 4th of July,
Oh,
sewing for April. And yeah.
okay,
Those are
good.
some
all
good
of
guesses.
Good guesses.
Some good guesses.
Um,
Yeah, I can't wait for everyone to see the April clubs.
Yeah, and it's actually getting pretty quick.
Yeah.
March Club is open. Remind us, Skylar or Marisa, March Club is open till
The
27th.
27th. Okay, so you guys still have definitely a few days to get in on the March Club that you just saw us work with.
And then
You
we'll be
still
s-
want that, and
yeah.
then sneak peeks will
We'll be
start
yeah,
after
soon.
that
Yep.
for April.
and I have a question to answer.
Okay.
Our card making superstar contest winners will be announced tomorrow.
Ooh,
So
exciting.
Stay tuned.
Good Friday thing to
and
do.
Yeah,
Yay.
yeah, we will have. Yeah, Good Friday's next Friday. but
No,
yes.
but I mean, it's a Good Friday thing
Oh,
to do,
yeah.
not Good Friday. I know Good
Yeah,
Friday's
yeah,
next
Soon,
week.
yeah.
Sorry, guys. Anyways, but yeah,
It'll be a
so-
Super Friday. Woo!
So stay tuned for tomorrow.
Awesome.
And yeah, and if you guys have any questions, comment on the video. It'll be posted live after this. I will
Nice.
update all of the links for any extra supplies that were in here, but pretty much everything that they talked about should already be in there.
Okay.
Perfect. All right.
So-
Should we announce the
Let's
winners?
announce our winners. We have three winners, and
like-
Marisa, first tell us gift. I know they're getting store credits, right?
$25
much?
store
$25.
credit.
Ooh,
Three
$25.
winners.
Nice. So each winner will get a $25 store credit. It's going to be loaded right in your account, so you'll be able to go spend it away. And our first winner is Annalisa Young. Yay,
Congratulations.
We need fireworks now.
Yay, we need fireworks now. Yeah.
All right, our next winner.
The next one is Lisa, and I'm sorry if I butcher your last name, Reifenberg.
Oh, that was pretty good.
Is that pretty good?
Life and
Thank
Barry.
you. I'm pretty
She'll
proud of
have to tell
myself.
us if that's the right.
That's the right way.
And I have an easy one. The last winner is Robin Cooper. So congratulations to all of our
Yay.
winners. Yay! We're so excited. So I do want to just, again, thank everyone who participated today, including our viewers, including our lovely guests, Yana and Jennifer.
Jennifer.
Thank you guys so much. We are so happy to do
Yeah.
the club alongs. Hopefully you enjoy them. We'll continue to plan them and as we go along with all the exciting new club products that come along. We do love seeing your projects too, so definitely we're going to have you go to our gallery, which is online at spellbinderspaperarts.com. I think it's just /gallery.
It's Pages Gallery.
Pages.
/pages/.
It'll be
gallery.
in the link.
Or
as
both.
well.
It'll be in the
It'll be in the
link.
link.
Perfect. Skylar's got us covered. So share your projects. We love seeing them. We love to see what you create with the dies because that's what it's all about.
It is.
We
It's
love
what
it.
you guys are making with what we create.
Yay. So again, thank you so much. We'll say goodbye to our moderators.
Bye.
Yay. And of course, Gavin, who does the amazing work
Bye.
behind the scenes. Bye to
Gavin.
Gavin. Yay.
And thanks again to Yana and Jennifer for joining us today.
Absolutely.
It was a great
Stay
treat.
tuned for
There they are. Bye.
April clubs.
That's right. We'll see
Bye.
you next time, guys. Thanks so much.